There are tons of new watches being released every week. Very few brands share their watches with more than a select few media outlets. So getting an idea of what's great and what's not is hard. But I've done the work of going to an AD and asking to try all these watches. We're not talking long-term wearer reviews, but these are my impressions of 10 of the hottest, latest watch releases. Let's dive in. The Omega Aquatera in black. It's an Aquatera with a black dial. I like teak dials. For me, the teak dials are kind of the signature thing of Aquateras, and the watch, for that simple reason, does really appeal to me. Having said that, plain black dials are nice. Now, is it as good as everybody says? Maybe is the best answer I can give you, but I'll say this. Those people that say it's an alternative or a competitor to a Rolex Explorer are just wrong. At least I think so. And I have the following reasons for that position. First, despite it being a matte black dial, the dial and glass comes across as much more reflective than an Explorer. The bezel is also more reflective, so this is a watch that calls much more attention to itself than the Explorer. Second, the bracelet has polished center links, which both the Explorer and Perpetual don't have. They have fully brushed bracelets. Again, this makes for a much more dressy Aquatera. Third, the case has the twisted lug design of many Omegas, and that's just a much more prominent case design than the Oyster case. What's good about this watch? Even though it's not my favorite, it simply put does look good. With this new iteration on this Aquatera, you only get polished center links, and I think that's a massive improvement. The bracelet comes with an easy adjust mechanism which works. I just don't really like easy adjust on butterfly style clasps. The compromise is that you get this little gap which ruins the whole point of the bracelet. They honestly should have gone for a more classic bracelet closure in my opinion, but it's a niggle. The movement is still good, but I do feel that the Omega 8800 and 8900 movements are getting a little bit long in the tooth. 55 hours of power reserve is good, but when everybody else is offering 70, I feel that it's not good enough comparatively speaking. It's much more dressy than an OP or an Explorer, but it's a good alternative if you don't like the Datejust. I'd still go teak deck, but black is nice. We might as well get the Omegas out of the way while we're at it. It's been out for a while now and it's still hard to get. It's the white dial Speedy. It's not a 42mm wearing experience, but it does feel bigger on the wrist than the black Speedy. White just makes this watch seem larger. I think it's superior to the Canopus Gold version because there's more color contrast on the dial. The white is this lacquered dial effect that it's hard to get across in pictures. The watch just sends more of a premium vibe because of that lacquered dial and the applied markers compared to the regular Speedy. It's a little bit less versatile than the black Speedy, but it is a very, 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 very nice watch. Andrew Morgan could probably find a much more poetic way of saying that, but to me, very, 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 very nice is as good as it gets. Certina DSPH 1000M. I have to be honest, I usually don't bother that much with Certina. Maybe their branding hasn't captivated me or I'm just a fanboy for something else, but Certina releases usually just fly past me without me taking notice. It's a shame though, because they've got some cool things and this new DSPH 1000M is one of them. This is a dive watch, but one with character and uniqueness. It's not your plain old Black Bay 41 in monochrome or your SPB 453 or your Bremont Supermarine. You get a case that gives you the vibes of something like a Squale or a Willard from Seiko or a Doxer 300T, and that's a good thing. It's not overpowering like a Ploprof or anything similar, but the design just communicates a more serious dive watch credibility. It's a watch that's on the bigger side. The sizing may surprise you, so you have to try it before you buy. The dial looks premium. It's got the Powermatic 80 movement inside, which is ETA's workhorse entry movement. For just under $1,000, you're getting a really cool watch. Thumbs up from here. Yema loaned me this watch not long ago, and in many ways it's a lot like the CMM 2.0 Slim I reviewed a couple of months back. This one is better for a couple of reasons. First, they've ditched the bezel lock mechanism, which was this little metal thing that flapped around on the crown. That's a clear positive. They've made a much cooler dial. The CMM 2.0 was a little bit flat and didn't communicate premium as much as this style that goes for a blackish gray dial with applied markers that, at least in my mind, sent me in the direction of some of the first Oris Diver 65 models, a couple of Vulcane models that were released a while back. So, overall, cool design. You still get the in-house movement, which in DLC black layout looks really cool. I know some people would be concerned about serviceability, but to me it's an open question. What's important to you? A box standard but easily serviceable Solita, or something original, but possibly with a few more hassles down the road. Only you can make that decision. On top of that, I'm a big fan of the bracelet. It doesn't lay flat, but it's a minor inconvenience for most people. So yeah, thumbs up from here. So a little bit of a lie. This watch I have not had hands on as the only one in the group. But I had to have it in here because I think the AP Audemars Piguet Remastered 2 is a watch that deserves attention. I imagine that this watch has been underway prior to the new CEO coming on board, so she likely can't take credit for it, but I do so wish AP would do more of this. It's got an edge and an originality, despite it being a remaster, that I think they should lean more into. Design-wise, I can't quite find anything to compare it with. It's going to be weird. It's like a Hamilton Ventura or a Cartier Privé Cloche de Cartier, but it just looks so damn cool. Not that I ever have a snowball's hope in hell of ever getting one, but I want one. SLGW003 from Grand Seiko. The watch is releasing in August 2024, but I saw it at Watches and Wonders earlier this year. On the surface, it's just a really restrained dress watch in the vein of a Lange Saxonia or a Jaeger LeCoultre Master Ultrathine. But the material is titanium, which in a dress watch is cool. There's something counterintuitive to that decision that I just really like. Because it's a Grand Seiko, there's a lot more shine to the titanium than you get from something like a Pelagos from Tudor. Then there's the dial, which of course isn't flat, but has these parallel birch patterns. You have to see this thing in the metal, and you have to get yourself a magnifying glass from the AD to really appreciate it. This is what I think elevates this watch from a slightly stale dress watch to something special. It's got something that most people won't ever notice, but you'll know, and you can enjoy it up close whenever you want to. And the final piece, it's a 5 Hz manual wind Grand Seiko movement. For me, that's a massive part of the purchasing value proposition. If movements aren't merely functional to you, then this isn't going to mean much. But for me, this could be reason enough to buy it. I probably won't, because I've generally failed miserably whenever I bought dress watches. I just never end up wearing them. But I wish I could learn to, because this watch is delicious. It took a while to find this watch in the wild. It's basically just the regular Tudor chrono, but with a different pink dial. I like the Tudor chrono. It's a nice chrono. You've got the Breitling BO1 movement inside, which is a solid movement. It's a little thick, but that's often par for the course with these non-high-end chronos. At 50 millimeters lug to lug, it does wear on the big side, but if you're buying this specific model, it's because you want the pink, which people on social media have been going gaga for. Personally, I've been looking for a pink dial watch for the longest time. The Nomus Club was too pink. The Shunbun was not pink enough. This one is not my personal favorite. If you like, but it just doesn't do it for me, and I do not understand the willingness to pay over retail for it. But, as I always say, buy what you like and don't listen to what I have to say. Zenith Defy Revival A3648. This is not a watch that's for everybody. A black bay monochrome is designed to be as broadly appealing as possible. A black dial Aquatera is the same. A black dial, black bezel Omega Seamaster 300M from Daniel Craig is likely going to be the same. But a 70s case design in screaming orange with a combo Beads of Rice Omega Seamaster 300M style bracelet is going to be polarizing. It's also thick at a little over 15.5 millimeters. That's a lot when you get a 13.5 millimeter watch in a Seamaster 300M. But honestly, that's not what you worry about when buying a watch like this. This is like a Doxer 300T. It's supposed to be a little bit on the oversized side. It's supposed to be in your face. It's supposed to communicate that you'll happily wear velour bell-bottom trousers whenever you want, and you don't care what other people have to say. Its lug-to-lug presence is more manageable. I tried it at Watches and Wonders, but you can't get around that it wears prominently. This watch, though, has a ton of personality. I really like it a lot. Its only true technical weakness is the bracelet. Zenith are just a step or two behind others in that space when it comes to features and build. But the watch itself, wow, me like. Breitling Endurance Pro 38. If you want to be rough on Breitling, you could say that the Endurance line is a massively overpriced quartz watch built by children. I can't take credit for that statement. I read the comment somewhere on Reddit. I get the point, though. It's $3,250, and that's a lot. Let's address the quartz thing. I'm not an expert on quartz, but this isn't your bargain basement quartz movement. It's got a lot of technical bells and whistles that make it resistant to heat and all sorts of stuff. It's accurate to plus minus 10 seconds per year, but it doesn't change the fact that it's still quartz. The carbon composite is typically a material that brands charge extra for. It works with the watch and it comes across as that kind of rugged beater style watch that it's envisioned to be. At 38 millimeters, it wears a lot better than the regular 44 millimeter version. I'd any day of the week go for the 38 over the 44. But the dial, you've got a compass bezel, you've got a chronograph, you've got Arabic numerals, you've got a tachymeter track. It's not technically a mess because all of the parts do sort of kind of work, but I think it works because there's so much that everything just kind of blends together. And a beautiful dial, it's not. G-Shock does this better at a much lower price. This price to me is proof that good branding allows you to charge much more than you really should. The Doxer Sub 200T is another lineup of watches which I spent a lot of time with at the Beau Rivage in Geneva under Watches and Wonders. Either you like these Doxer designs or you don't. The case shape, the colorful dials, which are intended to work better underwater, the beads of rice bracelet, the flat crystal of the 300T, the steel dive bezel. It's a love it or hate it kind of design. I love it. I own a 300T. The 200T on the surface is just a smaller version of that without a COSC certified movement. I do feel that it's a shame that it isn't COSC certified. I don't really know what the reasoning is, but probably has something to do with price points. But I would have preferred it to be COSC certified, but it's not a deal breaker. As for sizing, this is a watch that completely changes when you downsize. Some watches like the Aquatera retain the same vibe regardless of size. The 300T doesn't. For a whole lot of reasons, this watch feels more refined and more dressy. It's, of course, in part because of the objective difference in case size, but the polished components of the bead of rice bracelet just become more prominent, and at 18 millimeters, it just wears much less like a tool watch and more like a dress watch. Also, they've got a couple of sunray dial variants, which also give it a dressier vibe. I'm obviously using the word dressy in the broadest of terms. This isn't a dress watch. It's not going to fly under the radar at the ambassador's ball, but it is just a little bit more flashy despite being smaller. I would personally lean more towards the 300T, not just because that's what fits my wrist, but also because it's just that bit more rugged. The key takeaway for me is that it's not just a smaller Doxer 300T. It's a markedly different, more dressy wearing experience. That's it. 10 relatively recent watch releases and my hands-on experience, except for the RPG Remaster. Have any of you had some of these watches on the wrist? Have you bought any of these watches? And what do you think of them? Share your experiences in the comments below so others can benefit from them. Like, subscribe. Cheers.